Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. Today's video is going to be fun. I am going to be talking about adulting, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to name this video. It's along the lines of like #adulting, things I learned in my 20s, things that I didn't realize that my parents were doing for me when I was a teenager, and now I have to do them. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's just get right on into it. Okay. My first tip and thing that I never thought about as a child or a teenager, young adult, is changing my AC filter. You guys, this is so important. It not only is going to save you money, particularly if you're a homeowner, because it's going to extend the life of your AC unit, but it's also best for your health. If you've ever seen a dirty air filter, it'll gross you out. It prevents all of the gunk and dust from going into your vents, and that's what you're breathing in. Particularly if you have young children, if you have pets, if you have allergies, these are all things that can contribute to exacerbating these symptoms. I have asthma and I have pets. I'm not allergic to my dogs because they're hyperallergenic, but I do want to make sure that I'm breathing in as clean air as possible. And of course, I'm definitely concerned about making sure that I'm extending the life of my AC unit, because that is not a cheap thing to fix. Next tip, kind of tied into number one, is making sure that you're pouring bleach down the drain pipe of your AC unit at least once a month. Unfortunately, about a month ago, it was like 99 degrees out, of course, and my AC unit just turned off. It was so hot in the house and I couldn't figure out why. I opened up the door to where my AC unit is, water everywhere. The pipe had clogged up, and it was a disaster. I called the AC repair company. They were gonna charge me $400 to unclog it. Luckily, I went to YouTube and figured out how to do it on my own, and it worked out fine. But I could have prevented this whole thing had I taken literally 30 seconds a month to pour the bleach down the drain pipe. And I'm gonna show you a clip of me doing it in case you're not really sure what I'm talking about. This is definitely not something I knew about until I owned my home. But make sure you're doing this. If you're renting or if you own a home, you don't want your AC going out in the middle of the summer, especially if you live in Florida. Okay. Number two applies to you pet owners out there, and I'm not sure if this only applies to dogs. I'm assuming it applies to cats too. However, I don't know how I would feel about doing this to a cat because I'm not a cat person, but brushing your dog's teeth. I don't know if my parents did this to our family dogs when we were younger, but as a dog owner myself, you guys know I love my dogs so much. Rosie and Minnie, they're both Yorkshire Terriers. I love them to death, and I would do anything to keep them healthy. And brushing their teeth is super important. My dogs are actually predisposed to gum disease, which can be really toxic to them if it gets into their bloodstream. Unfortunately, Minnie had to get 3 teeth removed last year, and I don't want her to have to go through that again, and I don't want Rosie to have to go through that. So as a preventative measure, I've been brushing their teeth once a week. Make sure you're not using Crest 3D. You gotta get special dog toothpaste. You can find this at Petco, at PetSmart. I actually got a sample from my vet. You only use a tiny little bit. They don't like it, but it's for their own good. And I hope that if you guys have animals, you can start incorporating this into your weekly routine. Okay, next tip, making sure that you're shopping around for services and utilities. So I'm gonna use this example. I bought my home and I got homeowner's insurance. You have to get homeowner's insurance if you want a mortgage. And they charged me a very reasonable premium for the first year, and I knew that it would just renew if I did nothing. So I just decided, let it renew. Then I took a look at my statement. They doubled my premium, and I was like, what the heck? They didn't give me any additional coverage. They just doubled my premium. I am so happy I looked into that. As soon as that happened, I dropped them. I shopped around. I found the exact same coverage for what I was paying the first year. Make sure you're looking into this kind of stuff, especially if you're on some type of prepay, auto pay, auto renew. Make sure that your rate isn't changing drastically and you're happy with what you're paying for. Okay, next tip, and I have a feeling you guys are gonna chuckle at this. I know, it's just crazy. So when I was growing up, no shame, my mom made all of my appointments as far as the dentist appointments, the eye doctor appointments, because we typically would all just go on the same day. Me and my brother, my mom, maybe my dad would go on a separate day if he was working, but you know, she was in charge of maintaining those appointments, and she had them on our calendar, and I would just show up. You guys, as an adult, Nobody's gonna do that for you. You gotta do that. You gotta find your primary care doctor. You need to find your dentist, your optometrist. So if you have insurance, make sure you're looking to see what is in network. That way you're not paying this crazy out-of-pocket cost and finding who your primary care doctor is going to be. The last thing that you want to happen is to be in a predicament where you're sick. You're not sick enough to necessarily go to the ER or an urgent care, but you do want to be seen by a professional. If you don't have a primary care doctor established, it can be really hard to get into a doctor the day of. So just kind of prevent that problem, nip it in the butt beforehand, and try to establish primary care. Try to make your appointments in advance for the dentist and the optometrist and other things that you have that pertain to you up front. Okay, my next tip, and I am not great about this, but I'm trying to be better. Try to get used to packing your lunch for work as early on in your career as possible. Don't fall into going out to eat every day. I know how tempting it can be. I know sometimes 11:30, 11:45 roll around and I'm getting hangry and I'm cranky, or maybe I'm having a bad day and I just want to get out of the office. I don't want to stare at my computer any longer. But this can really add up, you guys. You can't get out of the office, but I challenge you to bring your own lunch. It's going to hopefully save you money and hopefully be a little bit more of a wiser, healthier choice. I know, like I said, sometimes midday, I am just like not thinking. I'm just like, if I'm happen to be cranky, I'm not cranky every day, you guys, but if I am cranky, I just want a burger or I want fries. I get very impulsive. Whereas the night before, when I'm thinking about what I want to eat the next day, obviously when I'm thinking ahead, I want to be on the right track. And if I'm packing my lunch the night before, I'll pack something a little bit more wholesome, which is probably better for me. So try to get into the habit of doing that. I, of course, don't do it every single day, but I'm trying to do it the majority of the time. And my next tip is going to the grocery store with a purpose and with a list when possible. Even if it's just on your phone, a couple of things. I find that when I go to Publix, and I have no list or no mission, I just start throwing things in the cart left and right. I'm like, oh, that's BOGO. Oh, that looks good. Like, that looks good. And I tend to overbuy. And there's nothing I hate more than throwing out food because I either didn't eat it, because I didn't plan ahead, because I knew I'd be going out to eat, or I was going on my boyfriend and I are going on a date, so we were eating out, once or twice that week or something like that. So my recommendation, and what my mom always did growing up, was going to the grocery store with a list to prevent this very thing from happening. Only buy what you need. Try not to be super impulsive. Obviously, it's fun to try new stuff, but don't buy it if you don't realistically think you're going to eat it. Okay, and my final revelation of being an adult is that nothing will get done unless you do it. Let me say that one more time. Nothing will get done unless you do it. So it is so tempting to let things go, and then they pile up, the dishes stack up, you have laundry up to here, and that can get so overwhelming. I've been there, and that's so hard to get out of. It's like a vicious cycle that you can't get out of. But once you realize that if you don't do it, it's not gonna happen. Like, there's not going to be a fairy that comes through my house to clean my house and do the dishes and fold my laundry and pick up the dog poop, all the things that I don't wanna do. Unfortunately, that just comes with the territory of being an adult and growing up. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any other insightful tips or revelations of being an adult, leave them in the comments below, because I'd love to hear them and I'd love to read them. I'm sure I'll get a kick out of them. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.